All right, let's talk about a tool that for any nail tech can be an absolute best friend or your worst enemy. I'm talking about the electric file. For so many, it's a huge source of fear, right? But I promise, by the end of this, you're going to see it as a tool of precision, control, and total finesse. So let's get right into it.
You know, this one sentence from the Louisville Beauty Academy really says it all. This is the core of everything we're about to cover. It's not about cranking up the speed, it's all about how precise and controlled you can be. That mindset, that's what separates a good tech from a great one. Keep this in your head as we go.
So here's how we're going to build up your confidence step by step. First, we'll look at the two sides of the e-file, the good and the bad. Then we'll decode its language, get into the absolute must-know pillars of safety, and talk about how to avoid those common disasters. And we'll wrap it all up by getting you into the right professional mindset for success.
Okay, so a tool of two faces. What does that mean? Well, when you use an e-file correctly, it saves you so much time and gives you these incredibly clean, precise results. But if you use it incorrectly, we're talking real pain, serious damage to the natural nail, and even injury. The only thing standing between those two outcomes is your technique.
And this is the key takeaway right here. You've got to forget about speed or trying to drill down hard on the product. As the Louisville Beauty Academy really drills home, mastery comes from a gentle, careful, and controlled technique. It's about letting the tool work for you, not you forcing the tool.
So how do we actually get that control? Well, it all starts with understanding the language of the tool itself. Seriously, once you know what RPM, torque, and all the different bits really mean, you're on your way to mastering this thing.
First up, let's talk RPM, revolutions per minute. All this is the speed. Now, I know it's tempting to just crank it all the way up, but the advice from the Louisville Beauty Academy is absolutely golden. Low and slow. Especially when you're working anywhere near the natural nail or the cuticle, lower speeds give you way more control. And, crucially, they prevent that dangerous heat from building up.
Next up is torque. The easiest way to think about torque is it's the e-file's muscle. It's the power behind the spin. High torque means that bit is going to keep spinning with consistent power even when you're going through thick acrylic. And this is so important because a machine with low torque will stall out, and then you'll be tempted to push down, and pushing down is the root of almost every accident. A pro-grade machine has the muscle to do the work for you.
Now for the bits. These are the two main players you're going to have in your kit. Carbide bits, think of these as your heavy lifters. They're for removing product like acrylic. And I cannot be more clear about this. They should never, ever touch the natural nail. Diamond bits, on the other hand, they're your detailers. They're for the delicate stuff like prepping the cuticle or refining a surface. Knowing which one to grab is absolutely non-negotiable for safety.
And finally, let's talk grit. It's just like your hand files. The number tells you how coarse it is. The LBA tip is a perfect, simple way to remember. The higher the number, the softer the grit. So an 80 grit is super coarse and a 240 grit is nice and fine. And here's the golden rule. Never, ever use a coarse, low-number grit on the natural nail. That is just asking for damage.
Okay, so we understand the tool, we know its language, now we can get into how to use it safely. The Louisville Beauty Academy has this great framework they call the 4 pillars of safety. And listen, this isn't just a suggestion. This is the foundation for being a professional and protecting yourself and your clients.
These 4 rules, make them your new religion. Number 1, always start with a low speed for control. Number 2, use a light feather touch pressure. If you feel like you're pushing, you're doing it wrong, period. Number 3, keep that bit in constant motion. Never let it rest in one spot. Think of it like you're polishing, just back and forth, back and forth. This stops friction and heat. And number 4, always, always use the correct bit for the job at hand. You follow these 4 steps, and I'm telling you, you will prevent almost every single common e-file disaster.
And speaking of disasters, let's take a look at what happens when people ignore those rules. Honestly, understanding what can go wrong is one of the best ways to learn how to do it right. And more importantly, it shows you how to protect your clients.
Rings of fire. I mean, even the name sounds painful, doesn't it? And it is. This is the absolute telltale sign of improper e-file technique. It's a visible, painful injury to the nail plate. And the thing is, it is 100% avoidable.
So what is it exactly? It's a groove, like a little trench that gets dug into the natural nail. It usually happens when someone uses too much pressure with the wrong bit at a bad angle right near the cuticle. So, how do we prevent it? Well, does this look familiar? It's the LBA safety method. Use light pressure, keep the bit moving constantly, and choose the correct fine grit bit for that delicate area. It really is that simple.
All right, we've covered the tech, we've covered the technique. Now we get to the final and maybe the most important piece, your mindset. A lot of students are scared of the e-file, and that's totally normal, but fear is just a starting point. With the right knowledge and practice, that fear turns into skill, and skill turns into confidence. Which brings us to this amazing mantra from the Louisville Beauty Academy. Think about it. You now understand RPM, torque, and bits. That knowledge is power. It's the foundation for turning that fear into finesse. So it's time to start telling yourself, yes, I can control this tool.
And that control leads directly to safety. You have the 4 pillars. You know exactly how to prevent rings of fire. With this blueprint, you don't just have to hope for a good outcome, you can actually ensure it. You can look at your client and know with confidence, yes, I can work safely.
And at the end of the day, this is all about your career. Mastering the e-file isn't just another technique. It's a core skill you'll need for your state board exams and for a successful future. This knowledge empowers you to look at that challenge head-on and say, with total conviction, yes, I can pass my exam.
And that really brings us full circle. You now have the skill, you know what to do. The next step is just building the confidence to do it, safely and consistently. We've given you the knowledge, the confidence, that's going to come from practice. So, the only question left is, are you ready?